All right.
Here we are. Okay. Thanks for joining us tonight. We are doing the very first edition of the Coffin Corner podcast. Tonight's episode is called The Rout. I'm your host, Matt White, and my co-host with me is
Lance LeBron, a.k.a. Lance the Obscure Movie Guy. Not going to be talking much movies tonight, but
That's all right. Football, I think, is just as important as movies, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, and I think the Rout is a good name for this episode because we are certainly trying to find our route. So,
yes, we're feeling our way. So please bear with us all. And there were some routes in this weekend's football, and we'll dive into those here in just a minute. As I said, Matt White, Lance LeBrun, and we're going to bring you some NFL scores and highlights. We'll talk about some of the big plays that were done over the weekend. And I guess without further ado, I'll turn it over to Lance so he can cover his beloved team.
Well, I figure we should start with the Giants and the Browns since it's our teams. And obviously the Giants played Thursday night, so it was a big game for them, 34-17 win over Philadelphia. So obviously the big news is good old Cam Scattaboo and Jackson Dart.
I've been stepping up.
Yeah, it's the verdict for me is still out on Jackson Dart. Realistically, he hasn't done anything spectacular. Let's be honest. His QB rating right now is under 60. So, and he's only thrown for over 200 yards once, but he's still green. He's only started 3 games. But he went 17 for 25 with 195 yards, a couple touchdowns, and then obviously he rushed for over 50. So
there you go.
But then we had that scare with the potential concussion. So rookie mistake. He needs to learn to slide, not dive. And then obviously Scattaboo, man, that guy, I got a lot of high hopes for that guy. He actually reminds me a lot of Peyton Hillis, old Cleveland Brown. So
yeah.
The way he moves his feet, the way he puts his head down and goes all out. So it should be interesting to see.
A hell of a tank for 1 year for us, and then got put on the Madden cover, and
Madden curse. And I think his last season was actually with the Giants. So
yeah.
But and then let's jump from the Giants. Let's go to the Browns, man. How did they turn out?
Oh my goodness. Well, we've had that love-hate relationship, mostly hate, I guess, with the Steelers. Long-time rivalry. It's a storied rivalry. I respect the rivalry with the Steelers.
Absolutely.
And again, it goes back to my first game back in the old Mistake by the Lake in Cleveland. I watched the Browns play the Steelers. So I got to see, on the Browns side of the ball, Sipe and Newsome. Dino Hall was the kickoff return guy. I remember that from that. But we watched him play up against Bradshaw, the Steel Curtain, Lynn Swan. So it was really a cool time to watch, and I've just been hooked ever since. And like I said, I respect the rivalry. There's another divisional opponent that we won't get into right at the moment. But
to be frank, the NFC East, Giants, Eagles, Cowboys, and then the Commanders. I wanted to say Redskins, but
yeah, well, I know.
But and then you've got the AFC East. Those they're two very polarizing divisions. They really are. And for a long time, the NFC East and I would say the AFC East, probably two of the most ground pounding conference or divisions out there, really. But yeah. Unfortunately, Cleveland lost 23-9 to the Steelers. You guys, it's your first week without Flacco. So I guess they had Dylan Gabriel doing the heavy lifting for the most part.
Yeah, he did pretty well in London against the Vikings. He didn't go out and fall flat on his face. So he had a good showing against the Vikings. We kind of expected the same thing against the Steelers, and it wasn't all that great. His stat line is let's just say modest at best.
Yeah, it looks like he went 29 for 52 with 221 yards. Not stellar.
Highlights, unfortunately, that I pulled away from that where the Steelers got 6 sacks in that game, and they held us to a total of 248 yards for the game.
Wow.
The defense for the Browns was stout. We had some really good stops, but you can't win games just stopping the opponent as much as possible. You got to put some points on the board, and that's obviously where we needed help. Schmidt, he actually hit 3 field goals, so I was pretty happy with that. So he's looking better.
So I mean, there's a couple positive takeaways from that. I mean, unfortunately, Cleveland, much like us, is trying to find its footing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, did we see Shadir Sanders at all that game?
No.
So
it was all Gabriel. It was on his shoulders, and like I say, his stat line was modest. It wasn't anything to write home about, but he didn't go out and fall flat on his face either. I look at him as more of a dink and dunk type quarterback. 5-10 yards, get the ball in the hands of your playmakers and let them move.
Well, I think that's probably the most important thing right now is just trying to get them to move the ball.
Right. Exactly.
But I mean, from there we can segue into Cincinnati since Flacco was the Browns quarterback. They traded for him last week.
There you go.
So obviously with Burrow being out, and I guess Cincinnati felt that their backup was only worthy of a try. So they signed Flacco, and I mean, not much better there. Green Bay over Cincinnati, 27-18. Flacco, 29 of 45 for 219 yards. So again, not stellar. I mean, modest, as you would say.
Yep.
But I think Flacco, I mean, he brings a lot of experience. I don't know if it was the right call for Cincinnati to go after him, because once Burrow's healthy, you're not going to need somebody with that type of experience, because Burrow's been in the league long enough and he's been on the team long enough to know what to do and how to play it.
Right. And Browning, he was doing okay, but I think they wanted someone with more experience. I think when Flacco was with us 2 seasons ago and got us into the playoffs, my personal view on that is I think that was kind of his pinnacle, his opus, if you will. But I could be wrong. I mean, obviously lots of quarterbacks are playing into their late 30s and early 40s and producing quite well. Just wasn't Flacco for us. So,
but I mean, that goes back. I mean, Cleveland has struggled so long with the quarterback position. I mean, is it really Flacco's fault, or is it just a problem with the system in general? Because they've had and probably still will moving forward this revolving door for this quarterback position. I don't know that Gabriel is going to be the answer. I don't know that Sanders is going to be the answer. But I mean, where do you see, like, moving forward, how's that going to pan out? I mean, are we still going to be with this revolving door for the next couple seasons?
I'd like to see one of the rookies really step up. The Browns have had a history. I think we're on our 41st starter since '99, and oh my God, that's just incredible.
That's almost the whole roster.
Exactly right. So if we can, I don't know if it's the system. However, for years, the Browns have notoriously taken these young rookie quarterbacks and thrown them to the wolves. Some have managed to be okay. Others have been left by the roadside. So,
well, I mean, speaking of some of those former quarterbacks, I mean, you take a look at Baker Mayfield, and we can segue into Tampa Bay. I mean,
there you go.
I mean, perfect example of wasn't with the team long enough to really show his true potential. Maybe it's a problem with ownership. Maybe it is a problem with the system. But I mean,
Maybe it's
outside
a
of
problem with
Cleveland,
patience,
and that's probably a lot of it too. I mean,
you know.
he had a heck of a game. And I mean, is it too early in the season to be talking possible MVP for Baker Mayfield?
I don't think it's ever too early in the season. I've liked Mayfield. He's got swagger. He's got grit. He doesn't mind going out there and running and knocking around with with the linebackers and the corners. I mean, he'll he'll run over people. He has that spirit, and he gets his guys up. He gets them into the game. Um, and I miss that about Baker in Cleveland. I think we need a leader like that. We need someone that can get the guys up and fired up and play with passion. And I think that he can do that. Speaking of the Tampa Bay game, though, the score was Tampa Bay 30 and the 49ers 19. So a nice win there. Some of the highlights from that was, again, Mayfield was 17 of 23 for 256 and 2 touchdowns. And he threw in 3 rushes for 14 yards. So, you know, for the 49ers, Kendrick Bourne, 5 receptions, 142 yards. So 5 receptions with 142 yards. That's a 28.4 yard average.
I was going to say, that's a great average.
I mean, was anybody even near him during the game?
Well, I think that was all of their offense. It was just that guy,
right? That's it's got to be. That's amazing.
Well, I mean, you bring up a good point though about Baker Mayfield, and like you said, playing with that type of passion. And I think looking back at the Giants game, I mean, I say Jackson Dart. I mean, like I said, his stats, he's not done anything stellar as far as statistically. But he brings a lot of passion, and unfortunately that was something that, as much as I like Russell Wilson does not bring that type of passion. And I think that's really what's been missing from the Giants is a fire starter like Scattaboo, like Dart, right. Having those two guys, play with that type of tenacity. I mean, Russell's a little bit more reserved. I think Russell plays a lot off of confidence. And I think it says a lot, if the city's not behind you, it's very hard to want to produce for the city. And I think we saw that the one play that was Russell Wilson comes in during the Giants game to take up for Dart as he's in the blue tent. And I mean, misses one pass and immediately the whole stadium's just booing him. And I'm like, my God, guys, give him a chance. Like,
right.
You don't know when it's going to be your last play. I mean,
right.
And that could take us straight to Tyreek Hill. That may have been his last play of his career. The rumors are still out. It's not. I mean, it's very. I can only equate it to Joe Theismann's broken leg, or even Alex Smith's.
Like we had talked about, at least Hill did not get an extra joint added in his leg at that time. I've actually seen an injury similar to that. Long story, but the guy's foot actually turned around backwards.
Yeah.
And in this particular case, so did his, but it was at the knee. And it just, you hate to see an injury like that. You hate to see
absolutely.
A career hinge on, getting dinged up like that. That was pretty gruesome. That was, they kept saying, the announcers kept saying, well, it's a gruesome injury. Well, you know what? It was pretty nasty. And yeah, it could end his career. I mean,
that's the rumor that's been swirling around. He did have a meeting with the team, I think the day after. It wouldn't be surprising if it was something in that regard, but it's probably something they want to keep under wraps for right now. Mm-hmm. And then speaking of Miami, obviously they lost to San Diego by a couple points, 29-27. San Diego wins that round, and then
that was a hard-fought game.
It was, and the outcome probably would have been a lot different had Hill been in the game. But I think you take a look at Mike McDaniel. I mean, that guy was the verdict's out for him, man. I like his nonchalant attitude, but at a certain point, that's going to get played out, and I think that's starting to show. I mean, he's having a hard time even putting sentences together at this point. You know,
Well,
he was up there after that game. I mean, clearly at a loss for words, but
right.
you
Well,
got
I
to
mean,
give us
he's
something.
worried about one of his star players too. I mean, that was probably forefront on his mind. He tends to be an emotional, has an emotional connection with his players. Um, but talking about coaches and having passion on the sidelines. One of the ones that I always loved to watch coach was Bill Cowher.
Yeah,
You'd
yeah,
see him on the sideline and that jaw, and the spit would be coming out, and he's. But I mean, not only was he a great coach, but he was a passionate coach, and I think that uh, that that's what a lot of teams need. Miami could use that. The Browns could definitely use a coach that has that type of fire and passion. Um, so yeah, it's tough to put your finger on just one thing that a particular team needs. Um, but in that case, yeah, Miami lost a huge piece of that puzzle when Hill went down. Um, and that's, I mean, there were some other to throw in some other
yeah,
injuries.
absolutely.
The linebacker Fred Warner, 49ers linebacker,
Yeah,
uh, broke his right ankle during the game, and that was, I saw the replay on that, and no, feet aren't supposed to bend that way. It was pretty gruesome. Um, And I think did we hit the 49ers score on that or no?
yeah, you did
Okay.
bring that up. Yeah,
Okay. So yeah, we did. Okay, against Tampa Bay. Yes, we did. And yeah, that's going to be a huge loss. It's my understanding that he hasn't missed a game. He hasn't missed but one game his entire career in the
oh
NFL.
wow.
And so now, he's going to be out a while. They're going to have to fix that.
That's actually really impressive, especially for a defensive player like that. That's going to be a tough one to fill.
Oh yeah, that's. I mean, I don't know. Unfortunately, I didn't look it up to see how long he's been in the league, but to go a full season.
I was going to say most guys don't even make it through a full season without missing a
Right.
game. And to miss one, in your career up to this point, and now you're looking at multiple games that you're going to be missing moving forward. And depending on what happened with the ankle, I mean, I don't think that they've said yet, but I mean,
I'll be playing with your mama tonight.
Well, we're throwing some things in there just to keep it spicy.
but I mean, depending on how bad that injury is for his ankle, I mean, we're week 6. I mean,
Yeah.
You're going to miss probably at least 6 weeks, and depending on how rehabilitation goes, I mean, it could be done for the season. So
It could be, and I guess it all depends on how bad it is. I know Puka Nacua went down with an ankle issue, and that, as they have said so far, is just a sprain. Nothing overly serious there. I don't think a sprain is fantastic either, but he avoided any major damage. And that we'll segue into the Chargers here. Chargers and Miami, as
yeah,
we were mentioning there. The Chargers 29, Miami 27, as we said. But yeah, that Hill injury is going to be tough. They're going to have to scramble, I think, to overcome that. I understand the next man up mentality, but
well, and Miami's been struggling this year with the problems that they've had with Tua, and obviously, possible coaching issues with McDaniel. They're not looking like the Dolphins that we saw last year. And I know Tua, I mean, there's really a lack of an O-line. I mean, we've seen him get pummeled more than enough times, to the point where people were like, dude, you should probably think about maybe hanging it up already.
right. Well, I know he had a lot of concussions and a couple of them in rapid succession.
Yeah, that's the concern.
Which is really bad. He went and saw a kung fu instructor or judo instructor to learn how to fall more appropriately. But I'm in several fantasy leagues, and someone wanted to trade me Tua the other day, and I said, as much as I appreciate the guy, he's one headache away from retirement. And sadly, I think that's the case. He really contemplated it the last time he was out for a while.
Yeah, I think the last one he had really, really put kind of like a chink in the armor. Like, and when you're playing on a team that suffers at the offensive line like they are, like you said, I mean, you're one play, you're one headache away from it all being done. Which, I mean, realistically, that's any position, but I think more so with the quarterback, because with unlike the other positions, the quarterback is almost guaranteed to be hit every single play. It doesn't even have to be a hard sack. You could get pushed to the ground and fall the wrong way, but you're almost guaranteed to be hit almost every single play that you're in.
Right, and I think other than the linemen, yes, I agree. Because as soon as that ball is snapped, everybody's gunning for the quarterback. It's just
like Bobby Boucher. Go where the ball is.
Right.
Hit the guy with the ball.
Exactly. So one of the things I definitely wanted to touch on tonight is I try and throw out, or I will be trying to throw out some big plays during the weekend. Yeah. And I think I had mentioned it earlier, but the Rams, Baltimore, since we were talking AFC North teams, and Baltimore is one of my,
it's okay. We neither one of us like the Ravens. It's okay.
It's Baltimore. So the Rams did beat them 17-3.
Looks like O'Shea knocked him out. Oh, I love my mama very much. Now you know that.
So one of the biggest plays of the weekend was Derrick Henry, King Henry. They call him King for a reason. He broke off a 72-yard touchdown. Now that was the biggest rushing play of the weekend until tonight. I'm trying to keep up on the Bills Atlanta, which right now is 21-14 Atlanta. One of the scores for Atlanta was on an 81-yard rush by Bijan Robinson. I mean, damn, that's a long way to haul.
Yeah, but even despite Henry having that run, I mean, Ravens still they didn't walk away with the win.
No, they didn't.
I mean, that's good for you.
So, well, yeah, I'm.
But I mean, again, that's another team that I think a lot of people are looking at right now, going, what the heck is going on? Because you have all of these offensive weapons, and they're just not able to put it together.
Right. And the funny thing is I think that's kind of, I hate to keep bringing it back to my boys, the Browns, but I think that's kind of where the Browns are, from the standpoint where they've got a couple of good offensive weapons. I think Quinshon Judkins is going to develop into something fantastic. Jerry Jeudy can play. Yesterday, I don't think he knew where his hands were. He couldn't catch a cold in a freezer. It was weird. And there were a lot of dropped passes. So, like you said, you've got teams that may have the pieces in place, but just don't know quite how to utilize them yet.
Well, and I think that's kind of the thing that's surprising, because you take a team like the Browns. I mean, let's be honest, it's relatively a young team, really, at this point. Not a lot of experience throughout that whole team, but you've got the Ravens on, a rival of theirs that realistically should, they should be walking away with the division, but they're not. You've got Henry, you've got Jackson, you've got some really good wide receivers, you've got a pretty solid tight end, but again, they're just missing, a piece of the puzzle. And I know a lot of people are, looking at Harbaugh like, well, maybe Harbaugh's been there too long and his style doesn't work anymore. But I'm like, I don't, as much as I don't like the guy, he's a good coach, and I might just not like him just out of spite because he's the Ravens, and I can't stand the Ravens. But I think a lot of owners and general managers are very quickly to blame the wrong people. Right. And I think it would be doing a disservice to the city and the Ravens if they were going to get rid of Harbaugh at this point. I don't think he's the problem.
Right. And it may not. I mean, obviously the Ravens are down Jackson right now. Their defense is pretty well banged up. You know, it's hard when you've got a team that does have talent, and I really hate to say that about the Ravens. I mean, I think I threw up a little. But a team that has talent and coaching, but they just can't seem to put the pieces together. But, you know, again, injuries play a big part of that. So, well, people may be calling for Harbaugh's head. Maybe not quite the way you want to go. You might be, you know, cutting off your nose to spite your face in that particular case.
Exactly. So moving on, who haven't we talked about yet?
We haven't talked about Denver and the Jets.
Oh, Lordy.
That's no, you don't want to hear me sing. It's true.
I think there's a lot of people that can say right now they had more passing yards than Justin Fields last week.
I think I had more passing yards.
I had 0, and that was more than he had. I didn't throw one pass last week, and I did better than he did.
When I sit down to watch games, I have a penalty flag and a review flag, replay flag that my wife made me, and but she made them so I could throw them at the TV without causing damage.
Right. I need a couple of those.
And I think I threw a lot farther than with one of those when I hit the TV with it. Yeah, it was.
But yeah, that was gosh, that was
there. The score there was Denver 13 and the Jets 11. Not quite a barn burner, but you know, who doesn't like a good defensive game? You know.
Yeah, but I mean, even at the end of the day, Justin Fields -10 yards passing, so that's got to be tough.
Now, the big highlight from that game that I wrote down was Kene Wango had a 72-yard kickoff return. He took it all the way to the Denver 24, and they could muster a field goal. But at least it was exciting for a minute to watch, you know.
I almost feel bad for the fans in London having to deal with that game.
Well, you know, it's funny to is this really what you want in London to watch? But it's NFL, and you take the good with the bad. You know, I mean, being a Browns fan, I understand that. You take the good with the bad. And I think Denver, man, they've got such potential. I mean, they're not, you know, it's not like they're stinking out the joint this year at all. They're doing well. But again, I think they're waiting for that one thing to just click, and then they're going to be a juggernaut. In my opinion, you know.
I think you're right. I think they're right on the cusp of really being something. Again, it's almost like back to the Ravens. It's like they're missing like this one little piece to the puzzle to really make it happen. It's just, is it the system? Is it a player? Is it a position? Like, what is that fine? Because it's not much. Like you said, there's so much potential on that team right now, and they're right on that cusp of just being able to really blow things out of the water. It's just what is the one small piece that you're missing in that scenario?
Right. So if there are any Denver fans that are watching this, throw us a comment. Let us know what you think. We've got live comments going on, so please, if there's a thought you have, throw it out there. Anybody, again, that's a Denver fan, what do you think that missing piece is? What do you think is going to get them over the hump and just make them that juggernaut that they have the potential to be?
And then you know, with that, I mean, we could segue into a team that does seem to have all the pieces to the puzzle. Surprisingly, Indianapolis.
Oh, yeah.
What is going on over there? I know as a Giants fan, I did not expect them to be leading the division with Daniel Jones.
Right.
So that tells me maybe Jones isn't as bad as we all thought.
Maybe.
What is it, a system problem in New York? Was it a player problem? Was it a coaching problem? But he is shining in Indy. I mean, 22 for 30, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. But I mean, Indy wins over Arizona 31-27, which, and to be frank, Arizona actually had a pretty good game.
Yes, they did. They didn't stink the joint out. They did really well. The only stat that I jotted down on this one, I'm a big Jonathan Taylor fan, and boy, did that sleeping giant awaken this year. Holy mackerel. He had 21 carries for 123 yards and a touchdown.
Nice.
And he added 4 receptions and 14 yards on that for 137 total all-purpose yards. I mean, that's you can't ask any more from a player. If you get more, it's icing on the cake. But he has been he's been incredible to watch. Again, I do the fantasy football thing, so I kind of keep an eye on individual players over time, and he's had a little bit of a roller coaster, but this year it seems like this is going to be his year. He's really coming on strong this year, and he's a lot of fun to watch.
And then you take a look at a guy like Jones. I mean, 6 years with the Giants. Like we said, was it him? Was it the coaches? Was it the system? Whatever it was, I mean, I had so my problem with Jones was I'm through and through was a huge Eli fan.
Okay.
And you go back to McAdoo stinking up that whole process for Eli at the end of his career.
Okay.
You bring in Dayball, and he's not much of a better coach. And then they draft Jones, and Daniel Jones looks like the guy you would get to play Eli Manning in a biopic.
I like to relate.
And there was so much riding on him, like he was going to be this. He's going to fix the issue, and it just didn't pan out. But I take a look at what he's doing in Indianapolis and the system that's in place over there. And I just feel like he's another. I feel like Daniel Jones is a lot like Russell Wilson. He's going to be one of those quarterbacks that thrives on people having confidence in him. He can feed off of that energy, and when that energy just isn't there, it's hard for him to find it. He doesn't have that grit, kind of like maybe Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes. They can pull themselves up.
Right.
The whole city and the whole country could hate them. Doesn't matter. They're going to go out there and still be able to put up the points. When you got a guy like Jones or a guy like Wilson, like I feel like those guys thrive on confidence so much that they're emotional players. So when the city's behind them, they're great. The city's not behind them. Hold on. And I hate to go back to Wilson, but I think that says a lot when he was in Seattle was a perfect example, because Seattle, they have the 11th man. They have the 11th man, as they say, with the crowd, and that's where he thrived, was that city and that crowd, and everybody being, a part of that. He is not the type of guy to be in New York, unfortunately, and I guess he wasn't the type of guy to be in Pittsburgh. And I think this is the same thing for Jones. He wasn't the guy for New York, but going to Indianapolis, Indianapolis is looking at this as like, this is the guy that, they've been missing Andrew Luck, just like the Giants were missing Eli Manning.
Right.
Indianapolis has been missing Andrew Luck. This is a good replacement for Luck.
And the Browns really miss Baker Mayfield. I think sometimes with the quarterbacks, sometimes it's just a change of scenery. It could be, obviously coaching has a lot to play into it. But, again, Baker is a prime example. He had the fire and the passion, but something was missing in Cleveland. And then he went, I think, to Carolina. And then I think to the Rams or the Chargers. And then now with Tampa Bay. And holy mackerel, his career has a resurgence. He's on fire. And Tampa Bay loves him. He loves Tampa Bay. Symbiotic thing there, and I think that helps a lot.
I mean, it's great for me because I'm a Bucks fan by proxy. Living in Florida now, I'm a Bucks fan, so
Okay.
I like them better than the Dolphins and the Jaguars. So
There you go.
speaking of which, Jaguars, Seattle.
Yes.
Seattle wins 20-12 over Jacksonville.
Yes. The huge stat line on that one that I pulled out anyways was Jackson Smith and Jigba. 8 receptions for 162 yards and added a touchdown on that.
Wow.
That's amazing. I didn't figure out the per yard or per yardage, yardage per
That's a lot.
But yeah, it's more than I can do. So it's in the 20s, and I just can't do math right at the moment. So, yeah, New England with Drake May, he's added again a spark to that team. He's
yeah.
Last year wasn't fantastic. But he's got his feet under him. He has his head wrapped around the way it's supposed to be. All the plays and everything, and he's making things happen.
And honestly, I didn't expect that out of him after last season. Not that he's a bad player. I just didn't see him like it's been a complete transition from where he was. It was a huge step in the right direction. So, I mean, good on him for being able to kind of bring that team to the fold with what he's doing.
Right. Because, again, last year was kind of,
It's a little ho-hum, as we would say.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, especially, if you're a New England fan and you were used to so many years of the B&B, Brady and Belichick, and just, dominating. And, Belichick, it's good for him.
That's two polarizing people right there, coach and player. I mean, Brady, Belichick. I mean, love them or hate them. I mean, they did what they did, and I despite the naysayers, I think it said a lot about. I mean, if we segue into New England, I mean, New England did win over New Orleans 25-19, but I think with Belichick, the biggest thing with him is that was a system. That was definitely a system that players were able to thrive in. Period.
Right.
Because
I'm not a big fan of Brady or Belichick by any stretch, but you can't argue with what the record books say and what the stats say. Numbers are numbers. You can't, you can't say nay to those.
And I think the biggest takeaway with something like that, and this is really where New England has been struggling the last few seasons, is that the system that Belichick had set in place, like I said, players could thrive there. So even like if you take the year that Brady was out and Matt Castle had to play, because of the system that was already set in place, Matt Castle looked like a freaking all-pro, threw for 4,000 yards, 30 touchdowns, and I'm an all-star quarterback now, and then went to Kansas City or whatever it was, and no, you're not as good as you think you are because it's the system that was good. It's the same thing when Wes Welker left New England. All they did was fill Wes Welker with a very similar build, Julian Edelman, or there was even a guy before that. I can't remember his name off the top of my head right this second, but the system is what worked. Wes Welker's a great receiver, but he thrived in that position because of the system. Same thing with Edelman. It's the system that Belichick had set in place. And that's when Belichick left and you all give him a hard time and Brady left. Even when Brady left and went to the Bucks, well, he was still seasoned enough and played long enough with Belichick. I can bring some of that system with me to the Bucks, get Gronk, and we can make another Super Bowl run.
Yeah.
But I mean, not to repeat history, but
right.
But yeah, New England over New Orleans, 25-19. So,
and the big stat there that I pulled up was Keishon Boutte. I think that's how it's pronounced.
I think we looked that up. It's Boutte according to Wikipedia.
John Big Boutte. It's Big Boutte. Never mind. Movie relate. But 5 receptions, 93 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I'm not just a big stat guy, but again, I'm a fantasy football guru, so I throw some of these out so some of my fantasy football geek friends that might be listening get these stats also, as if we don't have them in real time on our phones and such. But hey, here it is for you again.
And then I think
speaking of real time, a little update here. Fourth quarter, 10 minutes to go. Atlanta 21, Buffalo 14.
wow.
And at the half, the Bears are up on Washington 13-7 currently.
Well, I'll take that. I mean, obviously, being a Giants fan, I'm not going to be a Washington fan. But I mean, that's I mean, let's talk about the Bears for a minute. That is a team that has been really struggling for the last few decades.
Yeah, they've been hurting. But they're, Caleb is starting to mature. DJ Moore, okay, good number 2 guy.
No, there's 2 pumps.
Yeah, he's really testing the boundaries, and he's clearly gotten the ref's attention here.
A third pump will draw.
That's Hingle McCringleberry. I don't know if you're familiar with Jordan Peele, but that's Hingle McCringleberry.
Okay. I'll go along with that. No, I know the comedian, but I don't know all his characters. So yeah.
But I mean, yeah, Caleb Williams, that's an interesting case. I mean, I know, again, high pressure situation coming in as a number 1, which has got to be frustrating as a college player. If they don't trade up, you're almost guaranteed to be playing for a bad team. I mean, I hate to say that, but I mean, coming in as a number 1 to the Bears, I mean, and that was really, they put a lot of pressure on him coming in to be like the end all be all to their problems.
Oh, yeah.
And was far from it. I mean, I think he's starting to mature and come around a little bit, but he's got a long way to go.
Right. I don't know who's on their bench behind him. I haven't looked it up, but they need, kind of like what they did with Flacco and Gabriel. They need an older, experienced quarterback to kind of mentor these rookies. And, I've never been one, even if you draft a quarterback number 1 and he is the most highly touted NFL ready quarterback, my personal feeling is you let him sit the bench and hold the clipboard. Let him see how things are done behind a more experienced quarterback. Let him, figure out how the game is done, how to read defenses. And you can't really do that if they just throw you to the wolves.
Well, and I think a lot of it too doesn't even have to be necessarily even the gameplay, just the environment of the NFL. I think it helps to have somebody with a little bit of experience, especially if it's somebody that, like in Flacco's case, Flacco has the advantage that he spent so many years with the Ravens, and he's played for the Browns, now he's with the Bengals. He's familiar with that whole conference. So even if Burrow comes back, hang on to Flacco, maybe just in case.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a few more years experience than Burrow does. I know Burrow's familiar with the team, but there's probably still a few things that he could learn. And I think that's when you take a look at a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, who, whatever your personal feelings might be about the guy, because he is kind of a weird personal person. But
yeah, okay. We'll put it that way.
I mean, he spent his first 3 seasons sitting on the bench behind Favre. So you can't tell me that didn't benefit him, because he's gone on to have an amazing Hall of Fame career for sure. There's no doubt. So you can't tell me that didn't benefit him. Same thing with Tom Brady sitting behind Drew Bledsoe, even though it was for only a little while. But even when Bledsoe came back, Bledsoe stayed with New England long enough to kind of mentor Brady.
Right.
And I mean, you take a look at Eli Manning. I mean, Kurt Warner was the starter. I mean, and even Kurt Warner told, Coach, put him in. He's not going to learn unless you put him in, but he was there for the rest of the season to help mentor him in that position.
Right.
So having that veteran quarterback or veteran player, whatever the position may be, but mostly the quarterback, since they're kind of always going to be the captain of the team, I think benefits young players greatly in their career.
Without a doubt. No argument from me whatsoever on that one.
I mean, otherwise you get a Ryan Leaf.
Well,
And
yeah, one of the biggest draft flops in NFL history.
but I mean that was a brutal one. I was just reminiscing there for a hot second. That's a brutal one.
That was a tough one. That's to watch that happen. I felt so bad for him. But hey, what can you do?
Let's see. Who haven't we gone over yet? We've got Carolina and Dallas we haven't talked about. Carolina over Dallas, 30-27.
Yep, 30-27. Tet McMillan got his very first NFL touchdown in that game.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
On a 19-yard pass from Bryce Young. I think he went on to score 2 touchdowns in that game, to be honest. So hopefully they gave him a game ball to take home and put in his trophy case. The other big story there was Rico Dowdle. Holy mackerel. I want to talk about a resurgent career. This guy, 30 carries, 183 yards,
Woo!
4 receptions, 56 yards with a score, 239 all-purpose yards for this guy.
Yeah, that guy was definitely the workhorse last week.
I don't even drive that far. That's amazing. I mean, that's and then again, out of nowhere, Rico Dowdle. Who would have? Being a fantasy football guy, I didn't think about drafting Dowdle.
I mean, I don't do fantasy football, but I mean, yeah, that's. I mean, you take a look at the previous year, and you're like, why would I even waste my time?
Right.
Yet he just put up more points in this one game than he did probably all of last season in real life and fantasy. That's
just amazing. I mean, 30 carries first and foremost is just amazing. But that's, man, talk about a bell cow. Holy mackerel. That's 30 carries is a lot. And to try and sustain that for a season, I hope he doesn't even try.
Well, I don't think we're going to see an average of 30 carries a game, but I mean, that's, 30-27. I mean, that was, I'm not a Dallas fan. Obviously, that's another team that has been struggling for quite some time now. But I mean, that was a ground and pound game. So 30 carries, I mean, to get that over Dallas. But I mean, again, Cowboys struggling. Like, again, what's the missing piece to the puzzle there? And I think a lot of people, especially Cowboys fans, and I know a lot of Cowboys fans, unfortunately.
But I'm sure they're good people.
They are good people. They actually are, despite them being a Cowboys fan. But I think at this point with the Cowboys, I think a lot of people are in agreement that Jerry Jones really just needs to just be the owner, step back, let the players do their job, let the coaches do their job, let the general manager do their job, because obviously, I don't know what the breakdown was earlier in the season with Micah Parsons. I don't know. Nothing against Dak Prescott. I think he's a good quarterback. I don't know that Dallas is the right fit for him. I think he's one of those guys that would probably shine brighter than he already has in a different environment. But Jones keeps pulling the rug out from under these guys, whether it be the players or the coaches or the general manager. Let them do their job. You hired them and you're paying them to do their job. Just let them do their job and see what happens.
Right. It's like, again, the only comparisons I can really make, because I don't delve too deeply into other teams and their offices, is like Jimmy Haslam. He writes the check. I don't think he really has his hand in too many player decisions. And one thing that I can say is the Browns are number one and will go down in history as number one for making the worst trade in NFL history. And yes, I'm referring to Deshaun Watson. 230
I almost
million
forgot that guy
guaranteed.
existed. And yeah, that was
I'm trying to forget. All right. One of the other teams games that we didn't touch on yet is the Raiders and the Titans.
yeah, Tennessee, Las Vegas. What was that? Las Vegas 20-10 wins that game.
Yep, doubled them up. And again, Genty was probably the biggest stat line there. 23 carries for 75 yards. I'm not going to do the math on that one because no. But a touchdown out of it. So for fantasy purposes, he salvaged the game. But he's another one that he came in very highly touted into the league. Him and Marion Hampton, Quinshawn Judkins. But Ashton Genty was probably the most sought after, at least according to all the pundits and those that know. And he's been struggling. I expected more, especially in a Pete Carroll offense.
Yeah,
but it is what it is. I mean, it's my understanding the O-line isn't exactly where they'd like it to be. And that's another team that maybe a piece here and a piece there might help them. But I did have high hopes on Ashton Genty just to see what he'd do. He's doing okay. I can't do what he does. So, who am I to criticize other than a Monday morning quarterback?
Hey, Monday evening quarterback.
Well, there you go. Monday evening armchair quarterback.
And we did have some news break out of the Titans camp today. They actually have parted ways with head coach Brian Callahan. So I guess that was his. I guess that was the last straw, and whether he knew it was coming or not. But that broke late this afternoon, and taking a look at Tennessee. I mean, I don't know. Again, I don't know that that's going to solve your problems. That's. I mean, as you said, we're armchair quarterbacks at best.
Right.
I mean, I think everybody thinks they're an expert after their teams lose. But I'll say this. I don't think he's a great coach, but I think he might be in a position, again, like we talked about with Dallas. I think his hands might have been tied a little bit more than we're led to believe. Mm-hmm. And some of those decisions that were being made weren't all his.
Okay. So, I think that's fair.
We'll see where that goes. I don't know. I like Tennessee mostly because I have a soft spot for NFL history, so I like the Oilers.
Right.
But to see where they were and where they are, let's be honest, Las Vegas is not exactly a great team, despite how many people have their hands in that team.
Right. And it's they're not fantastic. They're I would say mediocre.
At best. Oh, I've lost you. Well, while Matt tries to get back, like, subscribe, and comment to the channel and let us know what you guys think. Leave us a comment. This is brought to you by Forever Entertainment. You can follow them on Facebook. So, Matt, you back?
I hope so.
There we go. Yes.
There I am. I don't know what's going on, but that's okay.
Sorry, week one technical difficulties. We'll work through them.
There's a glitch running around here somewhere. I just have to catch it and get rid of it. Quick update here on some scores. 5 minutes left in the Bills-Atlanta game, and Atlanta's still up 21-14. Third quarter, 12 minutes left. Bears and Washington. Bears are up 13-10. So that's where we stand so far in that.
What was the Bills score?
21-14 still, Atlanta.
Okay. Still Atlanta.
Yep.
I don't know how I feel about that. I kind of like the Bills. Kind of like Josh Allen. My son loves the Bills. He also loves the Ravens. So
the Bills were sort of anointed, I guess, even before the season started, and I think that's a hell of a mantle to carry. It's tough. I mean, they've got the pieces, they've got the talent.
Oh yeah.
And
That's definitely going to be one of the teams to beat.
Right.
Plus, I mean, Allen had the MVP season last year, so I mean that's.
Yeah. And I'm not saying by any stretch of the imagination that they're floundering, but I think sometimes when you have that type of pressure on you, it's difficult. It's it's a lot to carry. And what have we got? Our forever entertainment crew is trying to encourage some comments coming in. One other game we haven't touched on yet, I don't think, was Kansas City and Detroit. Did we cover that?
Yeah, no, I was kind of saving this one for last.
Okay.
Which I think we've covered everybody else, haven't we?
According to my sheet, and I've been crossing off as we go, I think we've touched them all.
So, I mean,
so that is the last one to cover.
Before we dive into that, I do want to touch back on the Giants and Philly, because we did have some other breaking news this afternoon out of the Philly camp. Zadarius Smith, after 11 seasons, has apparently decided to retire. So I'm sure that caught a lot of people off guard. He's been with Green Bay, Minnesota, recently with Detroit as of last season, right. And really had every intention of, he wanted to stay in Detroit. So the trade to Philly, I don't know if it was just a tough loss and a combination of being on a not so great team. He didn't really say what his reasonings were to call it quits, but I mean, speculation, he's not happy in Philadelphia. He wanted to stay in Detroit, coming off of a huge loss where, like, as you would say, Giants doubled him. So, I mean, that's a weird one. That's a weird one for me.
I think in a lot of cases, the most we'll ever know as fans and spectators is a lot of times they retire for personal reasons.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's all we're ever going to get told until years down the road when they're interviewing somebody and they go, "Oh yeah, by the way, this is what really happened." But until then.
But yeah, Detroit, Kansas City. I'm sure there's lots to talk about here. We'll start with the basic stats here. Kansas City, 30 over to Detroit Lions, 17. Yep. Talk us through the big plays.
Well, I'll give you the quarterback comparison here.
Okay.
Patrick Mahomes, 22 of 30 for 257 and 3 touchdowns.
Well, okay.
And Jared Goff with 23 of 29 for 203 yards and 2 touchdowns. The stat lines aren't too skewed there. They seem pretty comparable.
Yeah, I think the biggest skew that a lot of people are talking about heading into today is the penalties. I think Detroit had 4 for 38, and then obviously Kansas City, none.
Well, and it's funny because I know that at the end, during all of last season, people were pretty much referring to Kansas City as the NFL sweethearts, and that they had the refs in their back pocket. Anybody that ended up playing Kansas City was playing them and the refs, and I get it. And quite honestly, without Tom Brady in New England, they have to find a team to hate, and Kansas City seems to be it.
That's one way to look at it.
Well, when you're on top of your game and you seem to find ways to win, people tend to, they either love you or hate you, and I think in this case, a lot of shade is being thrown at Kansas City. And that's, hey, that's par for the course. That's part and parcel playing in the NFL,
I mean, I can look at it both ways. I mean, I definitely get what you're saying. And I think you're right. Partially, I think a lot of that is, the dynasty of the Patriots is gone. As great as that was for Patriots fans and myself, that's always been my AFC team. But then, they're not there. So you're probably going to hate the next best upcoming team, which happened to be the Chiefs. So I can see it from that perspective. I can also see it from the, conspiracy theory side of, realistically, when was the last time a team went no penalties called whatsoever,
Right.
offense or defense.
Right.
And if for me, it wouldn't be so bad if there wasn't like some very, very obvious missed calls, like blatant holding, like, and it's, I don't know what the refs see. I'm not going to act like I know exactly what they're looking at. And I know there's a lot going on in the field at one time, but it just, when you look at some of the replays and it's like, the penalty is literally within the eye line of the referee. Like, dude, you have to be seeing this. You can't be missing this. So I get the frustration. But I mean, I know over the last couple seasons, a lot of has been complained about possibly, the NFL being scripted or rigged. They list themselves as an entertainment industry, not a sports league. So it's like, but at the same time, there's so many uncontrollable variables in something like that.
Right.
I don't know that you'd be able to really pull something off.
Yeah.
To get them to win every single time you want them to win.
Yeah, I get it. And it's, someone has to throw the ball, someone has to catch the ball, someone has to run the ball, and it can't, if it's scripted, it just can't look obvious. But yeah, if someone doesn't catch the ball or it doesn't, now I'm not one of those that buys into it being scripted. Can there be favoritism among the refs on certain teams? Of course,
absolutely.
They're human beings, and is somebody getting paid off? Is there a big truck full of money going somewhere? I don't think so. But to go an entire game without one penalty, I don't know how many times that would happen.
I mean, I think I saw something, and I don't know how accurate this even is, but I think it was like the fourth time in like 70 years or something like that this has happened.
Wow.
And obviously, like, not any time recently. But I mean,
wow.
Can it happen? Yes. I believe, yes, a team could, if you're coached well enough, I think you could definitely go a game without getting a penalty. But the likelihood in this day and age where players, I mean, let's face it, it's not like when I was growing up when players played for the love of the game. They're not playing for the love of the game anymore. A lot of it is for the love of the money, the love of the monetary value, the exposure, So in this environment, I don't see a team really going no penalties. Somebody's going to get, and I mean, let's face it, at the end of the game, I mean, there was a brawl. So
right. I had forgotten about that. Yeah.
You're going to tell me that there's no personal foul that whole game, and all of a sudden we're brawling at the end? Like, you guys definitely missed some stuff. And in fact, that also broke today. That was late this afternoon too. Brian Branch suspended without pay for a week because of the fight with Juju Smith-Schuster. So,
yep.
I don't know how you in this day and age go a game with no penalties called without a little bit of help from the refs. And like you said, it might not be a whole, I don't think it's the whole league in on it. I think you're right. Maybe there's, one or two refs, maybe that game showing a little bit of favoritism, or, one of them might, get something from one of the players on the backside. We don't have any idea, sign this for my kid. Sure. No problem.
You never know.
One of those deals.
Think that they're above reproach because, they're supposed to be. But who knows? I think, shoot, I forget which coach it was. But he was saying basically, if you watch, there's holding on every play. If you're looking, you can see it.
Yeah,
it's there. So to go an entire game without one penalty, it does kind of seem fishy.
And you're right. There is holding almost every single play. But I think it's up to the refs to determine, it's almost like the strike zone in baseball. How far inside or outside do you really want to go in that window to make it a ball or a strike? So I think they do give a little bit of leeway. But something like holding is a great example because there's no way you can block somebody without holding them. I mean, it's you're just not doing it. As big as these guys are.
Yeah. 6'7", 310, and they run a sub 5 second, 40. No.
Yeah, I run the 40 in a 40. Okay.
You can time my 40 with a sundial. That's pretty much, yeah.
But
Well, I think that pretty much wraps it up. I had some trivia set up, but you know what? We've gone over our hour, so we can do the trivia the next time we come back, which will be Monday the 27th. Yep, Monday the 27th. We will return here at the Coffin Corner. I'm not quite sure. We're working on what our second episode is going to be called. This one was the Rout. I don't know. We'll see. We'll come up with something catchy for next time. So from myself, Matt White, and Lance, thank you for joining us tonight. We do appreciate your time. And again, throw some comments in there. We'll see them even after the podcast is done. And we'll see you next time on the 27th.
thank you, guys.